This is my fund versus fund future value calculator. We look at the high level, taking inputs such as the fund share price, dividend yield, expense ratio, and play around with the growth and contributions to see what type of portfolio we would have 10 years in the future. And recently I just added this income graph right here to see how much income you would receive over the course of 10 years. Before we dive into the numbers here of the future value of these two funds, I would like to take a look at the fund website to be able to see what the actual fund share price, dividend yield is, and then go over to Seeking Alpha, be able to define the CAGR or an accurate CAGR number, and then go to the portfolio visualizer to see what the funds have looked like in the past. So here we are on Global X's website, XYLG. It is their S&P 500 covered call and growth ETF. A few things I'd like to highlight for XYLG. The fund started in September of 2020, and we'll see over on Seeking Alpha that it's had some pretty decent growth over the past year and a half. Global X is claiming that their 12-month trailing yield is 8.23, and the current most recent distribution yield was 6.61. So we will choose a distribution yield at somewhere in this vicinity. Before we head over to DEVO's website, I wanted to show you something here on Global X's ETF performance page. So if we come over here and click all, we get to see and just do a quick search over the entire page to see where the covered call ETFs are at. And XYLG is the highest performing fund. QYLG is the second highest performing. And then you have XYLD, QYLD, and RYLD all performing around 8 to 8.5%. And I believe these numbers include with dividends reinvested. Let's head over to DIVO's site. DIVO has a little bit more history. There's a few things I want to show you on DIVO's website. December of 2016 is the inception date. DIVO claims their most recent payout was 4.7%. According to Seeking Alpha, it's a little bit higher than this, but we will use a distribution rate around this number. And if we take a look at their annualized performance like we did with XYLG, since inception, their annualized performance has been around 14.13%. And remember, DEVO has had more history to be able to flatten out their curve, I guess you could say. Their 1 year annualized performance, you would have to compare this number with XYLG, and DEVO's 1 year annualized performance is 21.73%, and I believe that is with dividends reinvested. You take a look at XYLG's 1 year performance, and it's sitting at 19.97. Over on Seeking Alpha, we also get a different snapshot compared to Global X's website. We see that their fund price is sitting around $29.48. Their dividend trailing 12-month yield is 8.1%. And one more thing I would like to grab from Seeking Alpha is to determine their CAGR ratio. If we click on XYLG's advanced chart, we click the all button and we go back at the inception date. The fund price is sitting around $20 to $26. And then if we drew a straight line from this point right here all the way up to the current NAV price of $29.48, we will be able to develop a CAGR number, and we will use that number to be able to predict our future value of XYLG. The starting price was about 25 and the ending price was about 29.50. We also have to determine the time period, so September 2020 all the way to February of 2022 is 17 months. That gives us a CAGR rate of 12.39%. So we will use that number in our calculations, or a little bit less than that. Over on DEVO's page on Seeking Alpha, the NAV price is sitting at $36.27. Their trailing 12-month yield is sitting at 5.09%, and their expense ratio is 0.55. We check out the advanced chart to be able to get an accurate CAGR number. And you can see DEVO has a much longer history than XYLG. We start over here December 2016 at around $25, and we are all the way up to about $36.34 here, a little over 5 years later. So with the starting value of So with DIVO's information input into the calculator, it spits out a CAGR growth rate of about 7.5%. So we'll use that in our calculation. Over on Portfolio Visualizer, we're going to compare what the history of XYLG versus DIVO is going to look like. We will take a look at reinvesting dividends and then not reinvesting dividends. So if we analyze the portfolio and come down here, since the inception of XYLG, if you invested $10,000 in both funds, you would be very, very close to the same value. The portfolio income, however, is a little bit higher for XYLG. And then we take a look without reinvesting dividends and see what the history of the funds would be. And then without dividends reinvested, DIVO would slightly outperform XYLG with the current CAGR rates right here for DIVO on the bottom and XYLG on the top. And the payouts would be a little bit less because the dividends would not be reinvested. And then we come over to our fund versus fund calculator. Let's zoom in here. We have XYLG on the left, DIVO on the right. With our current fund share prices, the current dividend yield that I feel comfortable with, 8% for XYLG, 5% for DIVO, and then the CAGR number. And again, remember, take this 12% and remember this fund has only been around for a year and a half, and DIVO has been around a lot longer, a little over 5 years, so it has a more accurate CAGR number. With the current CAGR numbers that we were looking at that we received from the Seeking Alpha data, it looks like with dividends reinvested, XYLG would extremely outperform DIVO. But remember, XYLG is a fairly new fund. With these CAGR numbers coming over here with dividends reinvested, the income for each year is on the graph with XYLG with dividends reinvested. You can see after 10 years, you would have almost triple the amount of dividends compared to DIVO. Let's say we're 5 years in the future and XYLG, their CAGR number starts to flatten out to be a little bit more reasonable because the S&P 500 has done very well since the inception of this fund. So let's say the CAGR number is more like 8%. And with an 8% CAGR number, you can see that the graphs start to converge a little bit. It is not until a lower CAGR number of about 5 to 6% that DIVO would overtake or come close to it, overtaking XYLG. So it all depends on your investing strategy, but for the most point, it looks like XYLG, if you want a good dividend paying fund and take your dividends out, XYLG would be a solid choice. But do remember, the fund has only been around for about a year and a half, so you might want to take that into account. And if you want to see more videos like this, I put together a playlist of all the comparison videos I did with this calculator, and that would be in the description below. And with that, thanks for watching.